There we go. Share screen. All right, so as far as repairing plastics, we talked about a couple ways, but first we're gonna be able to identify and explain the difference between the two major types of plastics that are used in automobiles. We kind of referenced them, thermoset and thermoplastics. We'll get into what they are, how to test for it, kind of figure out which one you're dealing with, how to identify unknown plastics. You know, if you have no idea what you're working with, you need to figure it out to figure out what type of repair process to use. How to repair minor cuts and cracks in plastics using adhesives. How to repair a gouge, a tear, a puncture with a chemical bonding process. And we're going to be able to explain the keys to good plastic welding. We're going to learn about SMC and RRIM repairs. SMC stands for sheet molded compounds. It's pretty much a plastic, like we were talking about with your radiator support, where it is a plastic with these fibers that are kind of stuck into the molten plastic. And when it cools, it makes it a lot stronger than just a normal plastic. You can usually tell by looking at the back of it, if you see like little strands or like white lines going through the plastic, it looks like something's in there. A lot of times they're using like fiberglass strands, and they kind of just squeeze it right in between the plastic and the mold. At the end, we're going to be able to go over our ASE style questions relating to repairing plastics. Safety precautions, as always, there are a lot of safety precautions when it comes down to plastics. We're going to talk about a few of them. Anytime you burn plastics, you guys know you're like not supposed to burn plastic. If you ever saw somebody having like a fire and you saw black smoke coming out, chances are they're burning some sort of plastic or rubber that they probably shouldn't be burning. When a plastic burns, it releases carcinogens. Carcinogens are not good for you. They can be cancer causing. So we avoid burning plastics indoors. One of the tests that they used to tell auto body technicians to do was called a burn test, where they'd say, all right, first you take your bumper cover, you light it on fire. All right, and if you see that it's starting to char up or if it's just melting, then you know what kind of plastic you're dealing with. Then they realize, hey, it's not good for you. We're breathing in all the fumes. These guys are like, what do you mean? They're walking around, but these bumper covers, there's a much safer way to actually test them. So we're going to go over the safe way to do it. As always, I don't want anyone in here getting hurt, sick, nauseous. But I want to make sure you guys know the proper way to repair them and to test them. So like we were talking a little bit earlier, we have these two types of plastics, right? Your thermoset and your thermoplastic. What's one of the words that you guys see sticking out in thermosetting? Set. So it's set. Usually if something's like set, it means like locked in, right? It's not able to change. Like my plans are set in stone. They're not changing. So thermosetting plastics, once they are heated up at the factory and they mold them, no matter what you do, if you try to heat it, you're not going to be able to change the shape of that. Thermoplastics, on the other hand, you can repeatedly soften them and reshape them by heating. So a lot of the plastics that we have on modern day cars are thermoplastics. And that just means if you were to apply a little bit of heat, you can actually reform that bumper. If somebody had a parking lot thing and there was like I can be able to push this one in. There was like a big dent right here in the center of it. It was just a big basketball-sized dent. You could apply a little bit of heat to the back side of it and push that right back out. That would be an example of a thermoplastic. I said 90% of the cars on the roads today, they got smart and they started making them like that. So if you see somebody with a dent, the paint is not cracked, right? This was their bumper. This is the bumper of the car. There's their fog lights. And they had this big dent right about here. You can actually heat the backside, push it out. As long as the paint wasn't cracked, you're never going to know that dent was there. We actually fixed a Prius in here. Were you guys here for that? and we heated it up, right? Were you there for the heating process? And you couldn't even tell that was there. That was a thermoplastic. Now, thermosetting plastics, or thermoset, they undergo a chemical change by the action of heating. So there's actually a catalyst, UV light is applied, and it is a chemical change in the bumper. So if you notice, you're applying a little bit of heat and nothing's happening, chances are you're dealing with one of these thermoset. The other one is a sheet molded compound. So again, like your radiator support, what you're going to look for in a sheet molded compound, if you were to do a cross, like just look at the top of the bumper or on the inside of the bumper, you're actually going to see these little like white lines, kind of look like strands of fabric kind of in the plastic. And it's very obvious once you guys see it. Even if you were to take a small piece of sandpaper, if it was painted, scuff over top of it, you can almost see a texture like it looks like fabric on the inside of the bumper. Now on the outside, they prime over them. It's really hard to tell from the outside. That's why taking a bumper cover off and inspecting the inside of the bumper is going to be your best telltale sign of, hey, is it SMC? Is it a thermoplastic? The other cool thing is sometimes they will actually identify the plastic with a stamp mark in the plastic. So we're going to tell you how to read those through this chapter as well. So here's a couple examples of thermosetting and thermoplastic. So they both start out, they're cool. All right. If you were to push weight down on them, the plastic is going to change shape. When it's hot, plastic's going to harden. And then once it cools down, it is in that shape. Thermoplastics can change their shape. They can be repeatedly changed. That's what they're trying to show you in that picture. So anytime you see that word set in there again, once it has that heat and it's cooled, nothing's going to change. So a couple other things in the safety portion. Working with plastics and fiberglass requires you to think about safety at all times. It doesn't sound that serious. You're like, I'm fixing a bumper cover. I'm not dealing with a flame or chainsaw or something crazy. But at the same time, anytime you guys are, if you have to heat plastic for any reason, make sure that you are in a well-ventilated area. Like yesterday, I got out the plastic welder. I cracked open the doors, wanted to allow some fresh air in. You don't want to be doing it in a confined place. You don't want to have the shop filled with smoke from heating the plastic and seeing that burn coming off. It's just not good for you. The other thing, resins and related ingredients can irritate your skin and stomach lining. So if you're breathing in, say somebody's sanding dust and you're not wearing a respirator or mask, and you're breathing that in, those little tiny pieces of plastic that are getting sanded off can actually enter into your lungs. They can enter into your stomach lining, and you guys can have, like, I don't know, just like it'll feel like you have irritation in there. It's an odd sensation to tell you, but I've heard a couple of the older guys tell, oh yeah, we used to sand bumpers all the time, and I ended up with a stomach ache at the end of the day. I'm like, what are you talking about? So something to think about. If you are sanding a plastic bumper cover or fiberglass, make sure you guys are wearing some sort of respirator. So the best type of respirator I like to use is the one with the two big pink cartridges. 3M makes them. They filter out pretty much everything except for paint fumes. So if you're doing a lot of sanding, you're doing a lot of body work, that's a great respirator to wear. If you don't have one of the like painter masks that just kind of go around there, like the dust masks, I guess you want to call them. You can buy them at like Walmart. They do a very good job as well. Not as good as the one with the two pink filters, but still you're getting some sort of level of protection, which is better than nothing. So anytime, the other thing I want to talk about is our adhesive gun. So So, these are the types of adhesives that we're talking about that will actually do different types of plastic repairs. If heat is not going to, be able to melt the plastic back together, you're going to have to use something that is a two-part epoxy or adhesive. You have a couple different ways you could go. So they actually make some products that are designed just for plastics. Like this right here is made by 3M. It's called Easy Sand Multi-Purpose Repair for Flexible Parts. So there are flexible plastics and there are rigid plastics. Make sure you're using the one that's compatible with the type of plastic you are repairing. How are we going to test for flexibility on plastic? Bend it. That's it. Does it feel rigid? Is it really hard to bend? Am I squeezing on this thing and it's like not moving at all? That would be a rigid plastic. If I can take it and I can go, hey, look at this thing. It's doing, I can almost touch the two ends together. That's great. That is a flexible plastic. So rigid, you're not moving. Flexible, it'll move around. So if this was a flexible plastic, I could use the flexible multi-purpose plastic repair. They really gave it a wonderfully long name. So I don't know, I've always called it, grab the Easy Sand Flexible. You try to shorten it up because Easy Sand, multi-purpose, repair material adhesive for repairs, and they give you a part number. Even looking at this, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm gonna hit stop share. If you guys look at the front of this two-part adhesive, you have a number at the top. If you guys ever had to order this from like a body supply company, the number that they're going to ask for is the part number, the product number. So this one is 05887. If you were to go order this, and if you guys were to type in 3M 05887, it would pop up and show this exact thing. So if you were to go online, or if you were to call the dealer or call the company that sells this, they're going to know exactly what you need. They put it on there in a couple different locations, but that would be the product number. What's some other stuff that we see on there? Let me make this bigger for you. What'd you say? Hazardous stuff? Yeah. What kind of pictures are we seeing in here? What's the one with like the person on it? Lungs. It's like a lung irritant. The other one, I'm sorry, what was that, Charlie?
No, I was just gonna say about the lungs.
Okay, awesome, thank you. The other one, it looks like a chemical, and it shows that, if you get on your hand, it has like marks coming off of it. They're saying it could be corrosive. You don't want to get it on your hands. You don't want to get it on anything else, pretty much. This is only designed to go directly onto whatever you're repairing. So what should we wear if we don't want to get it on our hands? What are we supposed to wear? Gloves. Make sure you guys wear rubber gloves. I had a guy I worked with years back, and like I nicknamed him Krusty, because this guy, like, he, no matter what, like, he wasn't wearing gloves. He had like body filler caked on his knuckles. Like, his skin looked like alligator skin. It was so dried out. But he'd be like, oh yeah, I'm cleaning my spreader off barehanded, wiping it off, wiping on his clothes. Like, the guy was covered in whatever he was working in. He looked like he was working hard all day. Like, I'd run laps around this guy. I never had anything on me because I was smart about it, But don't be like Krusty, all right? Make sure you guys don't use your hands to apply this stuff. If you have a really weird, like, you need to get the stuff in a really tiny groove, You might say, oh, I could just use my finger and wipe it right in that crack and it'll be perfect. Put a pair of gloves on. All right, this stuff is, if you do get it on your skin by accident, I've gotten it on my skin before and it actually caused like a red mark around where it got on there. It got irritated. So I started to get like a little bit of a chemical burn from it. So make sure that if you guys do get it on you, wipe it off, wash with soap and water. The other thing, where it says danger, it says causes serious eye damage. So I don't know if they're telling you not to put this directly in your eyes or what, but try to avoid wiping your eyes if you get on your hands, I would imagine. Causes skin irritation, may cause an allergic reaction. So there's a lot of bad stuff in here. Causes damage to organs through prolonged and repeated exposure to your respiratory system. If you guys are doing a lot of plastic repairs, like, wear a respirator, guys. That's it. I'll keep it short and sweet, but protect yourself. I don't want you guys to be, in your 30s, life's just starting to get good. You know what I mean? You got a house, beautiful wife, girlfriend, dogs, whatever you guys got, and all of a sudden you're not feeling good. You know what I mean? Take care of your bodies, wear the proper stuff. One more thing that they have on the side, which is just as important as all the other stuff. Yeah, let's see if we can pull that up. Dwell time, work time, sand time, paint time, and cure time. We have these different times that run along the side. So dwell time is how long we're mixing it up. Our work time comes down to 5 minutes. So does that mean we have 5 minutes to get our repair done?
No, it's getting average time
Takes to before. So what that time is how long you can like spread this stuff around with an applicator before it starts clumping up. When you guys are doing body filler and you notice it's starting to harden up on you. So you met your work time as soon as it started to harden up with body filler. With this stuff, your work time, they're kind of giving you an exact time. There's a science to this stuff. You can put it down 5 minutes, you could go over and go, yep, it's starting to clump up. Sand time, what would sand time mean on one of these? How long until you can sand on it? Yep. So if you ever tried to sand body filler when it wasn't fully cured, it clogs up your sandpaper. Kind of smears a little bit. This is the same way. They're telling you within 15 minutes, you guys should be able to go out, sand this product, and it's not going to clog up your sandpaper, or it's not going to peel up off the bumper that you're trying to repair, or plastic piece that you're trying to repair. The other one is 30 minutes, paint time. This is safe to paint in 30 minutes. Why would we have to care about how long until we paint something? What kind of reaction is going on here? Chemical. Any fumes come off? What happens if we were to paint right over top of it before the fumes could come out? It could mix, could not let them out, kind of lock them in. And if you guys ever if you ever had I'm trying to think, if you went to the beach one day and you had beach gear and you threw it in the car on a hot summer day and you shut the doors, the windows start to get steamed up in there, right? Because that moisture is trying to escape. Same stuff happens with a repair. If you have this stuff and fumes are coming out and you paint right over top of it, your paint can it can get this foggy look to it. What that is, it's all the fumes mixing in with the paint, and you get what's called dieback, where you get this foggy white kind of look in your paint. So you'd actually be able to see the entire repair area if you painted right over top of this stuff without allowing that paint time to fully go, which a half an hour is not bad. You're probably not going to be painting something in a half an hour. Usually it sits overnight. I like to wait until it's fully cured. 24 hours, this stuff is fully cured. It's ready to go. I like to wait that full time. So in 24 hours, fix it, let it sit for a day, and then go back to work on it. But no matter what the manufacturer is, they all have the same basic setup. So your part number up here at the top, your part number up here at the top, product name, work times, and safety information. Make sure you guys read these things. Every one is different. We'll get into how to use these guys a little bit more, but I was talking for a good bit today, so I'm going to let you guys head on out. So Monday, like I said, we'll get into a little bit. I want to get a lot of demos with this because I think demos are the way to, teach you guys, get you out there in the lab and actually have you work on this stuff. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Going once, going twice. All right. If you guys want to complete your exit ticket, once you see the exit tickets are in, you guys will be good to go.